Okay, today I'm going to be showing you an example of factoring a quadratic trinomial where a is not equal to 1, and I'm going to be using what I like to call the block method to show you this visually so you can understand what's actually happening when we'll later go on to use equations. So remember that this is a trinomial that follows the pattern ax squared plus bx plus c. 4 is A, 12 is B, and 5 is C. So we're going to be using blocks, and you should remember from completing the square using similar blocks such as these. Remember that for the first term, A is represented by x squared blocks. So those are the big blocks that are squares, obviously. And then B equals the skinnier x blocks, which are all of these, so there are 12 of them. And then 5 equals the little 1 blocks, which are these. So when using blocks such as these to factor a quadratic trinomial, we have to find the formation of blocks that will use all of these blocks that we have here, because we have 4 A's, 12 B's, 5 1's, or 5 C's, in a sense, then we need to find the formation that all of these go together and make a perfect rectangle. There should only be 1 or 2 of these, which depends. So when you're using blocks, it's more of a guess and check. You use different formations, say put this over here, and this over here, and da-da-da, but you can try this formation, or that doesn't look right. Okay, let's try this formation, and then you fill in the gaps with the rest of the blocks. Now with these, if you just keep going and using other blocks, there's so many different options. So a good trick is to always start with the x squared blocks and the 1 blocks, and then fill in the remaining space with the rest of these x blocks. And that is helpful more when we get into negative numbers, because if they're negative numbers, they cancel out the positive numbers, and which can change the value of b, but x squared and 5 will always be the same. So I'm just moving these out of the way real quick, and let's go in and start trying different formations with our blocks. So I like to start off when I have 4 blocks to make this perfect square right here. And then I like to use this corner over here with my 1 blocks. So let's see what formations we have. Now we have 5 of these, so we could try to make, we can try to make square formation and rectangles, but it's probably not going to work because we have an odd number of blocks. So see, if we try to do this, then we have a space here which we really don't want. We try to avoid that in this situation. So since we have an odd number of blocks, let's just put them in a straight line and see where that takes us. Oops. It's going to be kind of tricky to move sometimes. Okay, here we go. Let's see, move these over. So we can get them all fitting just right. And I'm actually going to, change the color of these blocks to help you see it a little better. So these are going to be stay blue. These 1 blocks are going to be yellow. And then all of these X blocks going to be green. Okay, let's get into it. So we have our just our blocks set up how I think would be a nice formation. This isn't necessarily what it's going to be, but let's grab our X blocks and fill them in and see if it all fits together to make a perfect rectangle. I don't know if, yes, a rectangle. I don't know if perfect is the right word to use there. So we're filling in all our blocks here. Let's see if they all go together. Like so. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Need to rotate this. I think this is gonna work because we have 2 more X's to fill in the last 2 spaces. Here we go. Okay, now my blocks weren't perfectly shaped, but you see we have 1 rectangle here. 1 rectangle with no holes. We can easily find the area. Okay, so now we have made this equation. How do we factor this? Well, this is factored differently because obviously of these 4 blocks here. And you probably noticed by now that there are several layers here. Okay, because if it was just 1 block, we'd have 5 X's over here and 1 X over here, and it would be pretty simple. But since it's 4, this area we have is doubled. So let's see what the factored form of this equation would look like. So we know it's going to be in parentheses. Let's first look at the bigger side over here. So we have 2 X's, 1, 2, 2 layers, and 5 blocks. So it's 2 X's, but 5 blocks. Sorry, X plus 5. Okay, now the area is 1 side times the other side. So I have this side, and then the other side is again 2 X's over here, 1, 2, but there's only 1 in this layer, so it depends on the angle you look from it. So over here there's 2 X's, and then from the top there's 5, so 2 and then 5, so 2X, or 2X, and 2 X's and 1, so plus 1. Alright, that is the factored form of this equation that we found from our blocks.